Okay, I'm Dane Rose, and I've met many Filipinas whose dream is to start a sari-sari store. They want to go into business for themselves. Maybe you want to go into business for yourself, and you want to raise money to open a sari-sari store. So, first of all, I want to do a comparison, right? Because many Filipinas have never thought about or considered and don't have a dream of becoming a virtual assistant. Now, let me tell you about my virtual assistant who I met 10 years ago. 10 years later, his name is Devang. He has, first of all, purchased 2 houses. Second of all, he has 5 million pesos in investment. He's only 30 years old. He has many skills. He only works 5 hours a day. And he's one of the best employees that I've ever had. And he takes his family to vacations. And he can work anywhere he wants in his country, India, or in the world. Right? And because his cost of living is low, similar to the Philippines, he saves and invests 80% of the money that I pay him, right? So Devang is doing very well. He could retire at age 30. He could retire today. He could go and get a job working any number of places. He's got his houses paid for all in cash, his investments, his family. So Devang is an incredibly successful 30-year-old young man. And he became that way by doing virtual assistant work for me. Now, let's look then at the pros and cons of a sari-sari store and a virtual assistant job. So I'm going to contrast with a friend of mine who opened a sari-sari store. And so we've heard Devang's story. Let's listen to her story. So when she was an OFW, she went to become an OFW in order to raise money. First of all, she sent money back to start her sari-sari store, but her relative stole the money. And so the sari-sari store didn't have any money when she arrived back. So that's the first problem. The second thing is she then had to spend maybe 30,000 pesos to build out some of the shop, right? Maybe 50,000. So there's a big influx. You have to build the location, right? So let's just say 50,000 pesos to build the location. And then she stocked the sari-sari store again, but some of the neighbors broke in and stole the products. So then she had to spend another 50,000 pesos, right? So she's already, she's the relative stole the money. That's 100,000 pesos. Has to construct the shop. That's 50,000. We're 150,000. Then the neighbors stole some of the things. So we have another 50,000, right? So we're already looking at, 150,000 pesos just to start the sari-sari store. And we've got various losses. Now, because she doesn't want people to steal from her again, she sleeps in her sari-sari store. But it's not a very comfortable store. Right? So she sleeps in the sari-sari store. Now, what else? She has to wake up at 5 a.m. And so 12 hours later, working 12 hours a day, she would finish at 5 p.m. But she doesn't. She finishes at 8. So 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day, she works in her sari-sari store. Now, this was still not enough to be successful. Her profit right? Her profit, with all that invested plus an additional 50,000 pesos in inventory, her profit is 500 pesos a day. So all of that work, working 15 hours a day for 500 pesos. Now she receives, right, 2,500, but because her, right, she receives 2,500 in sales, but because the markup is only 20%, the profit is only 500. So all of that work, 15 hours a day, and she's very successful. She's good with her accounting, right? And she's been doing it for many years. So she didn't just start making 500 pesos a day. She had to learn, right? And succeed, right? So she had to train. So what does she get for that 500 pesos? Well, she's pretty much trapped in her shop, right? That's one, right? She has to work from 5 a.m. till 8 p.m. 6 or 7 days a week, and then sleep in the Sari Sari store. Now, let's compare that with my assistant, Devang. Devang, first of all, makes 1,000 pesos an hour. Now, he didn't begin doing that. He began making 500 pesos an hour. But he has steadily improved, so now he makes 1,000 pesos per hour. And because he makes 1,000 pesos per hour, and he only needs 1,000 pesos a day for living expenses for him and his family, he works 5 hours, so he gets 5,000 pesos a day, and then he invests 4,000 pesos. That's why he's able to buy his houses, to save up his money. He invests 4,000 pesos a day. So he works 5 hours. So my friend in the Philippines works 15 hours a day. 15 hours a day. He works 5. So he works 3 times less hours. And she makes 500 pesos a day, but he makes 1,000 pesos an hour, right? So so he makes 25 times more money than she does, but works 1/3 of the hours. He can travel anywhere. He can bring his family on a vacation and work while he's on vacation. He doesn't have to sleep in his Sari Sari store. He can sleep in a nice, comfortable house. And he doesn't have a lot of inventory that can get stolen, right? What he has is a laptop and a good internet connection, and he's very honest, and he's very intelligent because he's always learning. And so what I want to suggest is that if you want freedom of movement, if you want more money, if you want to work more flexible hours, if you want to work fewer hours, becoming a skilled virtual assistant is a good way to go. You could work 4 hours a day. Right? You could move around, perhaps travel. You could be more helpful, because the other thing to think about is, why do I pay Devang so much money? Why do I pay him 5,000 pesos a day? Because he makes me more money than I pay him. He knows how to save me money on taxes. He knows how to save me money on airfare. He knows how to save me money on buying a piece of land in Palawan. He knows how to find me a cheaper attorney. He knows how to save me time, right? He knows how to get me a visa to the Philippines. He knows how to get me a visa over here because he's always learning. So Devang costs me 5,000 pesos a day, but he makes me 15,000 pesos a day, right? So I get a 10,000 peso a day profit on Devang's work, and he makes enough money to put 80% of his money in investments. So it's a win-win. I win, Devang wins, and Devang helps other people as well. He's involved with this video channel, for example. He's helping to make this possible. And so thank you, Devang, for all of your years of excellent help. Now let's look at what is required for you to become a successful virtual assistant. So the first thing you're going to need is at least 1 hour a day. Right? For the first 4 years, Devang was constantly learning. I would give him a book to read, and he would read it so that he could become better at that area, and then I would give him a job doing that work. I would give him a video to watch. I would talk to him. I would teach him, right? So you're going to need an hour a day to learn. You're also going to need a laptop, right? So let's just say that costs 10,000 pesos. And you're going to need a hotspot. Let's say that comes from your phone. So most people seem to be doing the 3 days for 50 pesos type of things. So you would need 1,500 pesos in internet for your phone and your laptop. And that's it, right? So for, let's say 12,000 pesos to start, rather than 50,000 or 200,000 pesos for the Sari Sari store, you need only 11,000 pesos. That's one. Two, you've now got a laptop that's useful for things, and you've got internet that you can use not only at work, but for all of your other social activities. The other thing that you're going to need is training. So you can begin by studying an hour a day until you're good enough to get your first job. Then you're going to continue doing 1 hour a day to get better and better and better, so that every day you learn to be more useful to someone who wants to hire you. So those are your requirements. So this requires discipline. It requires interest in helping people and studying. YouTube is one of the better places to study and learn about this. So that's what's required. And then the last thing that is required is sales, meaning you've got to then be able, and let's say English. It could be another language, but let's just say English. So you're going to need to speak English. You're going to need to have the ability to sell. Now, if you want to speak English fluently, Duolingo is a free app, and you can start learning and practicing. So Duolingo, free app. Secondly, for sales, I recommend Brian Tracy. Look him up on YouTube and start studying his work on sales. Because you're going to need to convince a client to give you a try as their virtual assistant. And one good way to do that is to clearly say what you can do, And then secondly, say, why don't you give me a try doing any of these jobs? And if they email you, say, do this for me, do it and do such a good job that they want to hire you again the next day. That's a great way to do sales, because if you prove that you can do it well on the first day and they need the work, then they'll hire you again. But if you do a bad job, it's not a big loss to them. So it's an easy sell. And if you do a bad job, then you need to learn to do a better job, right? Going back to studying. And that's how you learn. And so this is a terrific way. So here we see how you can go from, because you don't need an education for a sorry store, but you also do not need any formal education to be a virtual assistant. So I hope that helps. And if you want to look at the notes below and the more info, there will be some links there which will be helpful in growing your virtual assistant business.